Before we dive in, drop a comment and tell us, what's the wildest thing that's ever happened to you before a job interview? Also, let us know where you're watching from. We love seeing our amazing community from all over the world. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another heartwarming love story that starts with a little chaos and ends with a whole lot of magic. Rain poured over Nashville, Tennessee, like a sorrowful country ballad, dimming the neon glow of honky-tonk bars along Music Row. A street performer's rendition of Jolene cut through the storm, mingling with the buttery scent of biscuits from the nearby Loveless Cafe. Callie Dawson, 26, hurried along the sidewalk, clutching a canvas bag with job application papers for an assistant CEO role at Whitmore Media. A chance to prove herself after hometown taunts of dreaming too big for Nashville. Her late mother's embroidered handkerchief, Keep Singing, tucked in her coat pocket, urged her not to quit. "Today's my day," she muttered, dodging puddles, her navy dress suit fluttering. Suddenly, a black SUV sped by, splashing a wave of mud across Callie. She froze, mud coating her dress, blouse, and face, her curly hair matted like she'd waded through a swamp. "Are you kidding me?" she yelled, wiping her face, only smearing the mess. Through the SUV's window, she glimpsed a man in a suit, his glance fleeting before the car roared off. "Thanks, five-star driver," she shouted, tossing her broken umbrella down. Passers-by stared. A daisy vendor nearby chuckled, "Filming a country music video?" Callie forced a grin, pride flaring. "Nope, heading to an interview to kick this awful day's butt," she shot back, brushing mud from her dress and marching to Whitmore Media's building. The lobby gleamed, marble floors reflecting chandelier light. Other candidates in pristine suits and heels eyed Callie like a swamp creature. Mud dripped onto the floor as she stood among them, joking to herself, "From top candidate to mud masterpiece, I'm Nashville's next star." The receptionist, Martha, a middle-aged woman, raised an eyebrow. "You? Sure you want to interview like this?" Callie smiled, voice steady. "Absolutely. Mud washes off, opportunities don't." Martha laughed, nodding. "Girl, you've got more guts than a first-time Opry singer." In the high-rise boardroom, Grant Whitmore, 40, CEO of Whitmore Media, sat behind a walnut desk, his stern gaze earning him the nickname Iceberg. Handsome but guarded, he'd grown up in Nashville singing country with his mom, but after her death, he buried himself in work, walling off others. That morning, driving through Music Row, he'd accidentally splashed mud on a woman. And now, as Callie entered, mud caked on her dress. He recognized her. His mom's words echoed, "Don't fear dirt. Fear not trying." Callie, filthy yet head high, stunned him, but he stayed silent, nodding. "Start, Ms. Dawson." Callie sat, mud smudging the leather chair, and couldn't resist. "Before we begin, does your car need a wash? I think I bathed in enough mud for all Nashville." Grant blinked, nearly smiling, but kept his cool. "I'll check the car. Now, why do you want this job?" Callie took a deep breath, eyes blazing. "I grew up with my mom singing Jolene, believing effort would take me somewhere. I don't have fancy suits or a slick car, but I've got a sharp mind and a heart that doesn't quit, even when doused in mud." Her wit and grit caught Grant off guard. He thought of his mom, who'd stood in rain to sell biscuits for him, and for the first time, he felt curious about a candidate. As Callie left, mud trailing, she winked at Martha. "Send the floor cleaning bill to the black SUV guy," Martha roared. "Kid, I like you." Grant, watching through the glass, held Callie's resume, eyes lingering on her retreating figure. The Keep Singing handkerchief she'd left on the desk drew a rare smile. Under Nashville's rain, a love story had been splashed with mud and was starting to take root, promising blooms neither could yet see in the city's neon-lit heart. In the high-rise interview room at Whitmore Media, Nashville's sunlight streamed through wide windows, glinting off a decorative guitar on the wall and the distant honky-tonk bars of Music Row. Callie Dawson, 26, sat across from Grant Whitmore, 40, dried mud crusting her navy dress, curly hair matted, but her eyes ablaze. She'd just jabbed at Grant about the mud-splashing incident, her wit sharp. "Your car need a wash? I've bathed in enough mud for all of Nashville." Grant, dubbed Iceberg for his stern demeanor, blinked, his lips twitching. Holding her resume, he kept it professional. "Ms. Dawson, tell me about your experience." Callie took a deep breath, touching the keep singing handkerchief in her pocket, recalling her mom's Jolene to lift her spirits. "Experience? I grew up in a Tennessee town where mudstorms were routine. Once, I waded through mud to save a neighbor's cow, nearly got chased for it," she said, half joking. Grant let out a laugh, a rare sound that startled his assistant. "How'd you save it?" he asked, intrigued. Callie winked. "Sang Jolene to calm it down. Don't try it here. I'd hate to wreck your PowerPoint." The room buzzed with laughter, and Grant, for the first time in a decade as CEO, felt his heart lighten. He pressed on. "Why do you want to work here?" Callie tilted her head, dried mud flaking onto the leather chair. "Because I believe a small-town girl fueled by Jolene to get through bad days can make it big. I don't have an Ivy League degree, but I've got brains, heart, and the grit to survive mudstorms, literal and figurative." Her words, sharp yet sincere, reminded Grant of his mom, who sang Jolene in their kitchen, teaching him effort trumped status. He saw Callie not just as a candidate, but as someone who could make him laugh genuinely. As the interview ended, Callie stood, mud smudging the chair. She quipped, "Send the chair cleaning bill to the black SUV driver, all right?" Grant smiled, clutching the keep singing handkerchief she'd left behind. "I'll consider it," he replied, eyes lingering on her. Callie left the building, doubting she'd get the job, muttering, "They probably want assistants who don't track mud in." But as she crossed Music Row, a bar's guitar strummed Jolene as if her mom were saying, "You did great." In his office, Grant read the handkerchief's words, picturing Callie's grin. She wasn't just a muddy candidate. She was a storm, shaking his rigid world. Under Nashville's glow, he tucked the handkerchief away, thinking, "She has to come back." An interview had ended, but a love story, steeped in mud and country music, was just beginning. Monday morning at Whitmore Media, Nashville's sunlight flooded the office windows, warming a coffee nook scented with fresh biscuits. A radio at the reception desk played Sweet Home Alabama, setting a lively vibe. Callie Dawson, 26, stepped in wearing a crisp dress suit, her curly hair tied high, heart pounding. She still couldn't believe she'd landed the CEO assistant job after her mud-soaked interview. "From mud masterpiece to desk job, I'm a miracle," she muttered, touching the keep-singing handkerchief in her pocket, her late mom's gift, returned by Grant via internal mail. Her hiring stirred office buzz, and skeptical glances from co-workers made her vow, "Don't screw this up, Callie." Grant Whitmore, 40, sat in his glass-walled office, watching Callie through the door. He maintained his stern facade, but her handkerchief, left behind at the interview, rested in his desk drawer, a reminder of the rare smile she sparked. Raised on his mom's Jolene, he'd once dreamed of singing country, but his CEO role turned him into Iceberg. Callie's wit and sincerity intrigued him, though he wouldn't admit it. As she entered with the day's schedule, he nodded. "Ms. Dawson, no mud in the office this time." Callie winked. "No mud, but I'm not promising about coffee." Her first day, Callie spilled coffee on Grant's desk while handing over papers. "Oh gosh, I swear I wasn't aiming for you," she gasped, wiping frantically, smearing papers. Grant, frowning, laughed. "Trying to make me a coffee painting?" Martha, the middle-aged receptionist, teased from the doorway. "Kid, you're a mud tornado." Callie blushed, but brought biscuits from a music row shop to apologize, making coworkers chuckle and warm to her. The next week, Callie accidentally sent ad materials to a rival, sparking boardroom panic. "Did I send something wrong?" she asked, wide-eyed. Grant quietly fixed it via private email, saying, "You sent our plan to the competition, but I handled it." Callie teased, "CEO playing my assistant?" "Watch out. I might demand a raise." He raised an eyebrow. "Keep making me laugh and I'll double it." Colleagues gawked as Grant smiled, and Martha whispered, "That girl's melting the ice." The peak came when Callie tried fixing a projector before a meeting, accidentally blasting Sweet Home Alabama office-wide. The boardroom turned into a dance party, one staffer yelling, "Who opened a dance floor?" Callie, tomato red, apologized. "I swear I just wanted slides, not a Grand Ole Opry." Grant, at the table's head, hid a laugh, eyes twinkling. Post-meeting, he called her in, handing her correct files. "Get organized, but the dance floor wasn't bad." Callie grinned. "Next time I'll play Jolene. You dancing?" He shook his head, but his lips curved. Callie became the office's heart, not for her slip-ups, but her recovery. Biscuits for apologies, thank you emails to colleagues, and witty hometown stories. Martha, her biggest fan, dubbed her the lovable mud tornado. Grant silently anticipated Callie's entrances, her scheduled deliveries paired with smiles. He quietly fixed her errors like the rival mix-up and kept her handkerchief as a lucky charm. One evening, Callie stood on the office balcony gazing at Music Row's glow, whispering to the handkerchief, "Mom, I'm trying." Grant, passing by, overheard, feeling a deeper bond. Under Nashville's sunset, bar guitars strummed, and he knew Callie wasn't just an assistant. She was stirring his heart, silent for a decade, to sing again. Their story, sparked by mud, was blooming like a country ballad in the city's neon embrace. Late afternoon at Whitmore Media, Nashville's sunset spilled golden light through office windows, glinting off a Grand Ole Opry poster in the elevator. Callie Dawson, 26, stepped inside, clutching a stack of documents for a crucial meeting with a major client. Her navy dress suit was pristine, no trace of mud, but she touched the "keep singing" handkerchief in her pocket, whispering, "Mom, don't let me mess this up." Grant Whitmore, 40, the typically stoic CEO, followed, his gray suit sharp, his gaze softening at her sight. "Ms. Dawson, documents ready?" he asked, all business. Callie winked. "Ready, unless this elevator turns into a country dance floor." The doors slid shut, but between floors 10 and 11, the elevator lurched and stopped, lights flickering. Callie froze, papers scattering. "Oh, come on, seriously? I didn't sign up for a horror flick," she yelped, jabbing the emergency button. Grant, calmer, radioed security. "We're stuck! Hurry!" Turning to Callie, he caught her prying the door with a ballpoint pen and laughed. "What bad movie taught you that terrible move?" Callie blushed, waving the pen. "A cheap one, but I had to try. If we die here, at least I held the CEO's hand for comfort." Grant shook his head, his lips curving into a rare, genuine smile. They sat on the elevator floor, awaiting rescue. Dim emergency lights casting shadows on a Dolly Parton Jolene poster. To ease the tension, Callie shared, "My mom sang Jolene to lull me to sleep, even after pulling triple shifts at a biscuit shop to raise me. She said it reminded her to keep fighting, no matter how tough life got." She paused, eyes misty. "I came to Nashville to make her proud, but sometimes I'm scared I'm not enough." Grant looked at her, his gaze softer than ever. "My mom loved Jolene too," he said quietly. "She'd sing it in the kitchen, teaching me smiles matter more than money. When she died, I forgot how to smile. until you showed up covered in mud and sassing me." Callie laughed, wiping her eyes. "Sassing's my God-given talent. You're not paying me enough for it." Grant smiled, sharing for the first time about his Nashville childhood, dreaming of country stardom before choosing the CEO path to prove himself. "You remind me who I used to be," he said, eyes locked on hers. The air stilled, only the elevator's faint buzz humming. Callie, trembling, touched his hand for comfort as the car jolted again, their fingers intertwined, neither pulling away, their heartbeats seeming to sync to an imagined Jolene. "If we get out, I'm demanding a raise for this," Callie teased, voice thick, making Grant laugh. "Deal, but you're singing Jolene first." Rescue arrived after 45 minutes, the doors opening to clapping colleagues. Martha, the receptionist, quipped, "Y'all recording a country hit in there?" Callie, blushing, gathered her papers, while Grant handed back her dropped, "Keep Singing" handkerchief. "I kept it. It reminds me to smile," he said softly, eyes fixed on her. Callie grinned, heart racing. "Careful. Smile too much and I'll send you a bill." They stepped out, co-workers' curious glances trailing, but both knew the elevator moment wasn't just a glitch. It was a turning point. The meeting went smoothly, Callie presenting flawlessly, though Grant's eyes kept finding her. As she left the office, gazing at Music Row's twilight glow, she whispered to the handkerchief, "Mom, I just held his hand, and I'm scared I liked it." Grant, in his office, held her forgotten pen thinking of her smile and Jolene. Under Nashville's neon lights, bar guitars strummed, hinting at a love budding amid mud, country music, and hearts once lost, now finding their way. Rain fell again over Nashville, neon lights from Music Row flickering through the window of Callie Dawson's small apartment. At 26, she sat in a worn armchair clutching her Keep Singing handkerchief, heart heavy. After the elevator incident, she and Grant Whitmore, 40, CEO of Whitmore Media, had grown closer. Their shared glances, his rare smiles, and talk of Jolene stirred her heart. But that morning, a vicious online rumor spread. Callie was hired because she staged the mud splashing outside the office to catch Grant's eye, a small-town girl's ploy. Fueled by a jealous co-worker, the gossip turned the office into a whispering hive, skeptical stares echoing her muddy interview day. "They think I'm a schemer," she whispered, eyes red. Memories of hometown friends mocking her big dreams flooded back, shattering her pride. She refused to let Grant or anyone see her as pitiable. With a heavy heart, she typed a resignation email, sending it to Grant at midnight. "Thank you, but I don't want to be the mud girl handed favors," she wrote, voice choking in her mind. The next morning, she slipped into the office, left her ID on the desk, and walked out without looking back. Martha, the receptionist, called after her, "Mud tornado, don't go." Callie offered a sad smile. "Thanks, but I need to stand on my own." In his glass-walled office, Grant read Callie's email, his heart sinking. He thought of her witty grin, how she'd won over the office, their hand-holding moment in the elevator. The rumor was absurd. He'd hired her for her interview words, "I want to make my mom proud," echoing his own mother's values. He couldn't let her go. Driving through Music Row, rain glistening on his windshield, he headed to Callie's modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood. The scent of biscuits wafting from a neighbor, a Grand Ole Opry poster taped in the hallway. Callie opened her door, stunned to see Grant, his shirt rain-soaked. "What are you doing here?" she asked, voice cold, eyes welling. Grant took a deep breath. "Callie, I don't care about the rumors. I hired you because you're the only one who's made me laugh, really laugh, in 10 years. You said you wanted to make your mom proud. That reminded me of my mom who taught me a smile's worth more than money." Callie blinked, touched, but stood firm. "I don't need your pity, Grant. I won't be Nashville's punchline." He stepped closer, voice earnest. "You're not a punchline. You're who I need, not just an assistant." but the woman who makes my heart sing again." Callie laughed through tears, unable to resist. "You drove through mud to get here? I'm out of towels." Grant smiled, holding out her keep-singing handkerchief from the interview. "I'll bring a washing machine if you give me a chance." But Callie shook her head, voice thick. "I need to prove myself, not lean on you." She closed the door, leaving Grant in the rain, heart heavy. He stared at the handkerchief, knowing she hadn't just left the job. She'd stepped back from his heart, her pride stronger than any promise. Inside, Callie hugged the handkerchief, whispering, "Mom, did I do right?" A bar's guitar strummed Jolene nearby, as if her mom were comforting her. Grant, driving back through Music Row, resolved not to give up. Under Nashville's neon glow, a misunderstanding had pushed them apart, but like his mom's favorite country song, he believed true love would find its way back, winding through the city's rain-soaked streets to Callie's steadfast heart. A month later, Nashville's Centennial Park buzzed with the Fall Book Fair, stalls brimming with fried chicken and country music drifting from a stage near the Parthenon replica. Callie Dawson, 26, stood at the romance and comedy booth, launching her blog, Memoirs of a Muddy Girl, chronicling her journey from mud-soaked dreamer to inspirer. Her keep-singing handkerchief, a gift from her late mom, rested in her pocket, a reminder of resilience. She smiled at readers, but her heart lingered on Grant Whitmore, whom she'd pushed away to preserve her pride. Grant, 40, emerged from the crowd, no longer the iceberg CEO, but a man in simple flannel. Holding an embroidered frame reading, "Keep Loving," he approached, voice shaky. "Callie, I don't need an assistant anymore. I need someone to sing with me every day to teach me to laugh like you do." Callie blinked, tears spilling, but grinned. "Sing off-key and I'm bolting, Mud Splasher." The crowd cheered, and Martha, the receptionist, called from afar, "From Mud to Love, this girl's a hit country song." Callie took the frame, pulling Grant into a hug, whispering, "From one rainy day, I never thought I'd find someone to keep me singing." He kissed her forehead, eyes brighter than ever. Together, they hosted a charity concert at the park, Callie leading kids in a rousing Jolene. Under the Parthenon's glow, fair lights twinkled, guitars strummed, and Callie and Grant stood side by side. Her handkerchief and his frame told a love story born in mud, blooming like Nashville's autumn, vibrant and true. Thanks for watching. If Leia and Colton's story made you laugh, tear up, or believe in second chances, hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming rom-com tales every week. Don't forget to drop a comment below. What part of their love story touched your heart the most? And tell us. Where in the world are you watching from? Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and never underestimate a muddy beginning. It just might lead to a beautiful ending.